So we've all been there. It's the beginning of the year. We start the year off strong. We make promises to ourselves that we're going to read more. We're going to read X number of books. We are going to be on our phones less. We are just going to be more present in the moment and discover new authors, more interesting books. We have all of these good ideas in mind. And come mid January, we've barely read a few pages and we have not even picked up the first book that we like. Well, that was me a couple of years ago, and I found myself really upset with myself for not making the time to read because that was something I did all of my life. As a child, I used to read quite a lot, and then somewhere along the way, I sort of stopped reading. In 2021, I made a few changes, and I have since then consistently been reading 20 to 25 books a year. That's plenty for me. I know there are some booktubers out there who are reading 200 books, 150 books a year, and that's crazy and it's amazing and good for them. Sometime in my life in the future, I'll have time to do stuff like that. But for now, about 20 to 25 books is really all that I can manage, and that's plenty for me. So if you're somebody who's trying to read more, you have a really busy life, maybe you have one or two full-time jobs, you have children to take care of in your household, or elderly parents, things like that, and you really need to and want to read more, I'm here to help you with a few tips that I think might be helpful for you. Okay, so the first tip I have is really embracing audiobooks. That has been the single most impactful change that I have made with which has contributed to me reading a lot more. Now, I know that there are people out there who say audiobooks are not reading, listening to books is not reading, and that's fine, that's their opinion. But for me, audiobooks work really well because I still am able to read things that I wouldn't have time to read otherwise. And I still know those stories, I'm still familiar with those characters, I still discover those histories. So all of those things are happening. But here's the thing, right? I am a busy parent with a full-time job. I really don't have a whole lot of time in my day to sit down with a book and read. And so there are times in my day where I am doing busy work that does not require a lot of my mental capacity. It could be driving, doing the dishes, laundry, walking, things like that, where I could be listening to an audiobook. And really, that is the key to how I'm able to read the number of books that I am able to. So in a year, of the 20 books, at least 8 to 10 are audiobooks. And so that's really one of the biggest secrets is embrace audiobooks, get yourself an Audible subscription. You can also get a subscription to an app called Storytel, which is a little bit cheaper than audiobooks. But either ways, embrace audiobooks. If you are in the US, you have access to audiobook libraries as well. So really use those audiobooks, embrace those audiobooks, and don't worry about what people say that listening to books is not reading, because I'm here to tell you that it really is. The second tip I have for you is joining a book club. Now, I know this is not realistic for a lot of y'all, but you can find book clubs online as well. In the city where I lived, I've joined a book club that is actually pretty close to my house. So all of the members of the book club kind of live within a 20-minute distance from where I live. And so what that ensures is that I can make time at least once a month to meet with them. It's become a really lovely group of ladies. And I end up reading books that I wouldn't have read otherwise, and the entire deadline that I have to finish this book before the next book club meeting really keeps me going, and it ensures that I complete books. Now, if you don't have a book club around you, maybe try to start one. It should not be that hard. Ask around, ask your friends if anybody would be interested in starting a book club with you. But if you're not able to do that, there are many online book clubs available as well in the country that you are in. And I think that for me, that's contributed a lot to keep myself accountable because I'm answerable to my book club members. Even if I'm not able to finish the entire book by the next book club meeting, I try to make sure that I read enough so that I can have an interesting conversation. And I've really grown to love that time that I spend in the book club once a month. It's just about an hour once a month, and I really look forward to that meeting. Okay, the third tip I have for you, and this is a really important one, is give yourself permission to stop reading a book if it's not working for you. Now, old me would be super guilty, would feel super guilty if I stop reading a book. If I find it boring, I would keep telling myself, I've paid for this book, or I've borrowed this book from a friend of mine, I've started reading it, I need to finish it. And what I found is that whenever I was stuck with a book that I wasn't really into, it wasn't really interesting me, or I found the characters really annoying, I would keep pushing myself to keep finishing to finish the book. And eventually I found that I would pick up books less and less, and I would eventually just stop reading because I had this book that I had already started. So I would not give myself permission to pick up another book. But in the last 4 years, I have made sure that if I'm about 20 to 30% through a book and it's not work for me, if I'm not finding it interesting, if I'm not relating to the characters, I just stop reading it and move on to the next book. What this ensures is that at least I can go out there and find another book that might work for me. And over a period of time, I've gotten better at understanding what books do work for me and what just don't, and that's okay. So give yourself permission to DNF or do not finish. The fourth thing that works for me to ensure consistent reading every day is to put it on my to-do list. So if you don't already, I highly recommend making a to-do list every single day. I do that every single day, first thing in the morning, right after breakfast. And one of the things that I do right in there is 30 minutes of reading. So that ensures that, I'm looking at my to-do list through the day and I am seeing those 30 minutes of reading. And so whenever I get a little bit of time, I will make sure that I finish those 30 minutes of reading just to have the satisfaction of marking it as done. If you're not a to-do list person, maybe habit trackers work for you better. And so every day you sort of track, did I read today? That could be a way in which you could hold yourself accountable to doing that, 30 minutes of reading every single day. And that's, for me at least, has worked really well. And I hope it does for you as well. My next tip for you is setting specific reading goals. Now, I'm a very goal-oriented person. I like to set goals for myself, and I tend to do well if I know exactly what I'm working with. So every month I set goals for 1 or 2 books that I would finish in that particular month, and I actually name the books. So for example, currently on my Kindle, I'm reading Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead. I know it sounds like a very morbid title, but it's quite a funny book and I'm enjoying it quite a bit. So that's one book I want to finish in January. And then I also want to finish Careless People, A Story of Where I Used to Work by Sarah Wynne Williams. It is a book about working at Facebook in the early days of Facebook. And so I have these 2 specific books that I want to read in the month of January, and I hope to finish those. And so having this very specific goal that I need to finish a book like this sort of keeps me going. I always have it at my bedside table, or I keep it on my coffee table. So even if I just get like 2 minutes here and there, I will sort of pick it up. And the 6th and the most difficult tip I know is essentially keeping some phone-free time in your day. One of the biggest enemies of your reading goals is going to be distractions, specifically your phone. We've all been there. We've had a long day of a million things that we've been doing, and we just sit down after dinner, after cleanup, and we just want to be on our phone and scroll in peace. But for me, that is my biggest enemy for the reading goals that I have. And so I kind of tell myself that I am not going to be on my phone, let's say, after 8:30 p.m. today, or I'm not going to be on my phone between 2 and 4 p.m. today, or something like that. But just have some specific phone free time where you put the phone on your bedside table, don't touch it for a while, and you're way more likely to pick up your book if you have a little bit of free time when that happens. So I highly recommend having or scheduling even some phone free time in your day, so that you actually pick up your book, you actually pick up your Kindle, or you listen to your audiobook while maybe you take a walk or something like that. But have that phone free time so that you can really immerse yourself in the book. So those were my 6 tips. I hope you found them useful. I hope that you read more than you have in the last few years. I hope you can hit some reading goals. So listen to audiobooks when you can, and forget about people judging you for reading audiobooks. Give permission to yourself for stop reading books that you don't find interesting. Schedule it in your day. Have phone free time. Set very, very specific reading goals, and I think you should be good. I hope you found this entire video useful. I would love to know if you end up reading more because of these tips, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.